Hello everyone and welcome to Arcade Hunter. This episode was filmed at the 2018 Game On Expo at Phoenix, Arizona, and this is one of my favorite events to go to every year. And this year I was actually invited as a guest, which was really cool. I got to do a panel on Sunday. I had a few dozen people show up. We talked about dead malls, and it was a blast. It was really fun. Now, just like every year at this event, I got to get my hands on some really cool arcade and pinball machines. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know I'm a huge fan of arcade and pinball machines, especially, from playing them in mall arcades when those used to exist. And this cocktail pinball machine here is a great example of some of the really cool stuff that's here year after year. I think I've maybe seen one other cocktail pinball machine like this in my entire life at the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. Now here's a Clax cabinet. That's not one of my favorite games, but there was a Dr. Mario cabinet here, and that is one of my favorite puzzle games. And this one was actually for sale. I wish I had some extra cash to add another cabinet to the garage arcade. And here's Arkanoid. I've never seen one in that style of cabinet before. That was kind of interesting. But you can see there was just rows and rows of arcade games, just like every year at this event. Just so much fun. And here's one of my all-time favorites, Robotron 2084. Love that game. And here's an original Space Invaders cabinet, and you'll notice that Starfighter's arcade sticker up there. I've done a video on that arcade as well. That place is fantastic. The Space Invaders cabinet is interesting in how it works, in that you're really looking at a mirror with the screen reflected up on it. Kind of cool. And here's a Neogeo cabinet. I've got a 2-slot Neogeo MVS cabinet in my garage arcade. Wish I had room for a 4-slot. And all the way over there is a Cruis'n Blast cabinet from Nintendo. And a Wild Ian appears. It's my good buddy Ian from the CU podcast. And this is Cruis'n Blast. This is from Nintendo, and this is the successor to Cruis'n USA. And I used to love that game. This, not so much though. My kid loves this game, but for some reason I sucked at it, so I'll show you some footage of her playing it. Seeing this though really makes me want to play Cruis'n USA, but I guess I'll have to settle for my copy on the N64. Here's a Tetris Arcade cabinet. And there was a good amount of pinball machines too. Here's Star Wars. This is one of my all-time favorites. And look at this little cute machine here. Here's a Dig Dug machine, but look at how tiny it is. I don't believe Dig Dug is the original game that goes in this cabinet. I looked up the name on the side there, Moppet Video, and they did release a handful of arcade games, but obviously Dig Dug is not one of them. But this is still a really neat little cabinet. Knowing what I know about arcade cabinets, because it's so little, it's probably worth a fortune. Now these are really cool. This is a custom Legend of Zelda cabinet, and it is absolutely beautiful. These were done by a guy named Sam, who goes by Rewind by Design on Instagram. And he actually did 3 of these cabinets. There's a Zelda one here, and this thing is just gorgeous. I fell in love with this thing, and I want one so bad. The attention to detail is just amazing. Like, look at the control panel there, the artwork. It's just, oh man. The speaker grate is a Triforce shape. That's just the attention to detail, the gold trim. And then he also did this DuckTales cabinet, and I think I love this one just as much as the Legend of Zelda cabinet. And if you're familiar with the Game On Expo, the gentleman that runs it, John, who goes by Gamester81 on YouTube, he actually got to take this cabinet home, and I am so jealous. But if you want to see a video more in depth on this DuckTales cabinet, how these work, I'll put a link to that, to John's video showing this thing off, and you can be jealous just like me. And then the third one here is a Mega Man cabinet, and once again, just gorgeous. Look at that. Look at the attention to detail, the glass. And these look like, they're Nintendo arcade cabinets, like they were like recycled Donkey Kong cabinets, but they're not. He actually built these all from scratch. Even the speaker grate there is shaped like Mega Man's head. But now let's take a minute to talk about this episode's sponsor, the Retail Archaeology merchandise shop. The Retail Archaeology merchandise shop has t-shirts, posters, stickers featuring the Retail Archaeology logo, Welcome to Rotting Acres Mall, some pictures I've taken, and also, for a limited time, a lot of defunct brands and stuff. So check out the link down there in the description below. But anyways, back to the arcade games at the Game On Expo. A new thing they had this year was a Pachinko Gallery. Now, I'm not super familiar with Pachinko. From what I understand, though, these are some sort of Japanese gambling devices, but there wasn't any gambling going on here, at least not for money. It was more of the mechanical rat, pizza, and child casino variety. They were basically prizes you could win. You pay to buy some balls, I guess, and play some Pachinko, and then, with your winnings, the balls that you win, you take those up, and you could get, ticket-style prizes. It was pretty cool. It was kind of amazing the difference between the older Pachinko machines and then these like newer high-tech ones that have screens and stuff built in. And this seemed to be fairly popular throughout the expo, so I'm kind of hoping this is here again next year, because I didn't have a chance to really try any of this out. You can see the backs of the machines and some sort of ball counter. And then there were the prizes right there. Like I said, they're like kind of Chuck E. Cheese, ticket prize type things. Some kind of cool things in there, though. And here's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. This is a newer game, but it looks very similar to the old school 4-player game. This is pretty neat. A lot of people seem to be enjoying this as well. And here's a little itty-bitty Neogeo candy cabinet. This thing is here every year, and I love this thing, and I want one, but they're not cheap. They're very expensive. But look at how cute it is and how little. I'd love to put that next to my full-size 2-slot Neogeo MVS. And they had some virtual on cabinets. I haven't seen these in a very long time, and they were running tournaments and stuff too. That is a fantastic game, and Virtual On is one of those games that you really can't get the full experience unless you play those sit-down arcade-style cabinets. It's just so much fun. And then here's Cyber Trooper. I think this is very similar to Virtual On. I'm not as familiar with this. I wish I had time to participate in the tournament. And here is the Star Wars arcade cabinet. This is the original Star Wars arcade game, the vector-based one, and this cabinet is in great condition. Now, that flicker you're seeing isn't actually there with the game. It's because, like I mentioned, it's a CRT vector screen, vector graphics, so you're just seeing the refresh rate there. But surprisingly, I was able to play this kind of decently one-handed and film at the same time, which was great because I never pass up an opportunity to play this game. It never gets old doing the trench run. And the voice samples and stuff were great too. And boom goes the Death Star. I really want one of these too, but they're getting really up there in price. Now this game, Snapjack from Universal, turns out is a super rare arcade cabinet. There's somewhere between 2 to 5 of these known to exist, but I think only 2 or 3 of them are actual original dedicated arcade cabinets, and there's a few boards out there. So it's really cool to have the opportunity to look at this and play it, because that's not very many, just 5 or so. That's got to be one of the rarest arcade games out there. And this one's in really decent shape too for its age. I love that old artwork. Glad I was able to capture this. And we'll wrap it up here taking a look at the Nintendo playchoice 10. This is another one of those holy grails that I would love to add to my collection, but they're really getting up there in price. And this one has a light gun, so I'm going to play some Hogan's Alley. I'm a huge fan of light gun games, and that's why I'm a big advocate of having CRT monitors around for your retro gaming. I hope you all enjoyed this trip down memory lane looking at some old arcade games. I just wish we could still find some of these in malls today. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Arcade Hunter. If you enjoyed it and you like videos on dead malls, urban exploration, old video games, and all that kind of stuff, and you're not a subscriber, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also follow at the social media links there because that's the best way to keep up what's going on with the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.